Hello everybody, welcome. Hope you're well. Man, it's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. This is my time of year, this late September, October. It is wonderful. Grass is still green, weather's pretty cool. Other than the other day, I was coming home hauling some cattle. Man, it was 101 degrees, September 29th in Montana. Now that is hot. Today's job is a dirty job. Today's job is a tough job. It is a job that not a lot of people like to do. And because of that, here we are. I'm doing it. You know, a lot of times there's a little niche to be found in doing things that nobody else wants to do. I'll show you that in a minute, but here's the backstory. Our little community down the road here has not had a high school football program in, I believe it's 4 years. I think they had 4 years off, because the numbers of kids in the school just got too low in our little rural school. We've had a little resurgence in the local population with some of the younger ranch people coming back, you know, my age type folks. And so there's enough kids to have a football team, but they needed a coach. So myself and my brother-in-law said that we would do it. Now, because I'm coaching high school football, I'm not able to be on the road nearly as much during the football season because we have practice, as you know, every single day. In fact, it's been a monstrous financial sacrifice to do this. The rewards are great. The fact that you're helping your community grow and you're helping the young men develop in your community, grow them, mold them, you know, make them men kind of thing. Those rewards are great. However, the financial cost is pretty massive because I'm not on the road. And that's, what is it, a 3-month season? So you got 3 months of not being able to really truck unless it's a little local short, something that will fit in. Season gets over, I'll jump in the cow truck and I'll go do all I can when I can. Let me tell you how that leads to where we are now. I have been resorting to taking on a few odd jobs, I guess you could say. Skills and talents that I've acquired maybe over the last few years of trucking that normally I wouldn't do commercially, so to speak, but because I'm home and I'm here, I'm taking these things on. One of those things is metal polishing, okay, aluminum polishing. Not really good at it, really good. And it's a job that you're either good at it or you're not. You kind of understand it and you understand the process or you don't. And I had a guy call me here, local guy, and he's like, hey, heard you were buffing, polishing. And I was like, did you? Polishing is a multi-step process that if you scrimp on, the project will go south and you'll end up having to start over. I'm gonna bring you along on these steps. You're gonna see how it goes, but I'm gonna add a twist to this, okay? The twist is that I wanna see if this power station from Anker has enough juice to be able to do this job, okay? I'll tell you something about metal polishing. A lot of it is mobile. Like, it's really nice when people will bring stuff to you to polish, but there's some cases where, you know, a trucking company might say, hey, I've got 3 semis right here in the yard this weekend. You know, would you come in and polish on them? You'd pull the cord on the generator and you'd run that thing all day long. Polishing takes a fair bit of juice, you know, running these buffing wheels and these sanders and whatnot. I got an email from Anker. I think I've actually seen a lot of people using these Anker products. So Anker emails and they send me the Anker SOLIX F2000 to try it out. Here's the thing. Like, yeah, it's cool to have them. These power stations, we lost power for like 4 days. All the flooding going on in North Carolina, people are cut off. It does make you think in terms of emergency use, like, you know, it's probably not the worst idea to have some emergency power. So I like to try to think of actual usable commercial applications. Like, what can this little thing do to help you make money or help you get along in your business, right? Well, let's first use it in a controlled atmosphere where I can have it in the shop. I can plug my stuff in here and see if this thing has enough power to actually do a polishing job. This is the tank. I've been trying to find the right place to put it to polish. I thought this was gonna work good, setting it between the tires, but I don't think I'm gonna do it. It's still a little too, you can't put much pressure on it and it wants to roll. But this is it. You can see the old strap marks, right? Don't know the history of it. However, where the straps were protecting it, you can really see what it's like. And what we're gonna do will actually be a step above that, I believe, when we're done. So this entire tank is going to get made right. I did a few little test passes last night. Here's one of the things about polishing, you guys. You have to take some time to really assess what you're polishing and the condition that it is in, okay? Because there's hardly ever 2 polishing jobs that are the same. I'll give you an example. The back side of this tank has never been cleaned, has never been washed. This is the side of the tank that is facing the frame of the truck. Okay, let me show you this little deal. I made one pass over this fuel tank on this old white Volvo that I've been working on. And this is the road side, right? So that side gets a little polished, gets a little clean, gets taken care of. Now, when we're talking this side over here, I mean, you can just feel it with your hand. It's pretty smooth. There are some pit marks. You can see that. That's pitting, okay? That's from road salt, calcium chloride, whatever sprays up from the road, maybe a little sand, maybe a little gravel, but it gets cleaned off regularly. Customer wants the entirety of both of these tanks polished. There has been something that has been hanging loose on this fuel tank and causing, it's scratched into the fuel tank. It's scratched in. Here you can really see it. See those scratches there? See how those run along? That is cut in here pretty big time. 180 grit sandpaper, which is this. That's 180. It's not really, I brought it over here and it's not really cutting into these lines, okay? And those need to be removed. So I went ahead and popped on a 100 and ran a 100 across there, and the 100 still isn't actually quite taking that out. It will. I'll hit it a little bit harder. But so in this case, these are 100 lines, okay? Those are 100 scratches. These are 180 scratches, okay? The 180 scratches have removed the 100 scratches, okay? And then my 320 scratches will remove the 180 scratches. Do you see what I'm saying? It just gets progressively smoother and smoother until the tank is literally, it feels like satin cloth. Like you rub the tank and you're like, ooh, like, hear that? Still scratchy. When we're done with the last sanding, it'll just be smooth. You're just like, oh yeah. You just kind of want to rub your face on it. All of this is going to be done through the power of this Anker SOLIX 2000, okay? And we'll find out if this is a product. Is this something you can actually use like farm and ranch? Can you take it, put it in the back of the pickup, take it out and use it for usable commercial power things, not just for recreating? Here it is, right there. See that? Okay, this is what it is. As I was just talking about recreation, they actually have a little RV outlet. I can't remember what amp that is for on an RV, but a lot of travel trailers, pull type trailers, not motorhome types, but pull type trailers have those plugins. So packs a little punch, looks like. Display button. I mean, these are really basic. They're really simple, right? Like I don't need to sit here and go through and be like, look at all these little features. That's not really my thing. That's not really what I do, but just a basic rundown, okay? It's got C-type plugins there. It's got USB plugins there. It has sockets for cigarette lighter plugins. They call them car sockets. We all call them cigarette lighter plugs, right? Got some different modes. There's like some Bluetooth capabilities. There's an app you can monitor. You can do all this stuff. Again, those things are not so much my forte as like, hey, here's this basic thing. Can I put a plug in here and will it run and give me power so that I can sand this thing down? But that's my thing. I'm not like the cool, like monitor my whole house from an app on my phone. And that's, cool. And if you're into that, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just not me. That's not really my type of video. Those kind of things tend to actually make me a little crazy when I can't figure them out. I'm like, I just want to just do this. Why do I have to do all this and to get to this? It looks like we're going to have a lot of juice to sand these. Sanding, of course, is the bulk of the time you will spend is sanding. But it appears that the old Solix here is going to have plenty of juice. Okay, that does it for this bottom side with this. Let me just show you. So this is all done with that 120. Sorry, I think I said 100. 120. Those are my 100s there. Those babies. I think we're gonna get away with this okay though. So these are my 120 pass. See all the lines and everything? This thing is handy. You can go really fast, but it can really buck and start going crazy if you're not careful. So here we are, right? All them lines. See that? That's all 180 now. See, 120, 180. You can see it just, you can see them disappear as we go. Some leftover COVID masks. Got a lot of those. Oh man, so the first two passes sanding are the worst. I think we're just a little over halfway. Oh, that's a workout, I'll tell you what. So the trick with using these, let me find a used pad. There you go, that's pretty good. That one shows it too. So the trick with using these, this orbital, it spins so fast that on a curved piece of metal, only a certain portion of this pad is going to come into contact. What comes into the most contact is this outer inch, okay? This is what actually does all the sanding. This part here, in fact, if you feel the difference, you can't, but I can. This is still very unused. You'll be going on here, you'll be using this outer edge, and sometimes you'll press down just for a second where it gets flat, and then it does this big loop-de-jump thing. And it'll put some really gnarly swirl marks in. Let's see what our power is looking like. Hey, boy, this thing's getting dirty. That's what I like to see. Okay, we're down to 90%. So we use 10% of our battery doing, I bet we're gonna use another 2 or 3% to get the worst parts of this done. I'm kind of hopeful that we'll get this tank fit and finished and polished and done on at least just 50% is what I'm hoping for. Okay, so that's the last worst of the bottom, along where the tank straps were here. There's kind of a corrosive edge, so I went ahead and hit those with my little wizard blaster as well, just to get that knocked down. The rest of this thing, we'll start with that 180. Just taking a break for some fresh air. So far we've done the worst now. We got 2 rounds of sanding done on that tank, down to 84%. You saw that on the old Anker. That's a lot of sanding so far. Okay, time to press on with 320. Then 400. We'll be good. Okay. Wow. Always makes a nice weird, it gives you an idea what I'd look like without a beard because it crimps me down. Got like giant cheeks and no jaw. Guys, this thing is like so smooth. So smooth. It's ready for the buffing wheel, which is right there. We're gonna give it a buff. You can see what's going on. You think because you were born in the dark, you have an advantage over me. You guys remember that movie? Let's go! Go. Black. You reach in to pick your nose or pick a bug, scratch an itch, and you get all blackened. Really like gray and more like, but earplugs, everything. So let's update you, all right? So we've run over this thing. You'll see right now there's just a few little, you can see, oh, like right there, look at that. See that little line? What that actually is just some polish that's left over from that, right? That's your rouge and your wheel. And what you're doing when you're polishing back and forth, you're pushing that rouge up. Every time you go across, it sucks a little rouge in, polishes the metal, and leaves a line. So it'll leave sometimes a little trail mark. What you do to get rid of those is that you have to get some polish. I use Zephyr Pro 40. And you hand polish the whole tank, and it pulls that rouge off of there and then gives it one final little polish. What beginner polishers can run into is as you're going across here, you can run into some actual lines. So say we went ahead and hand polished it and it still had some big lines in it. That would be from, just be from going a little too fast with the polisher or being inconsistent in your sanding. If your rouge got to a spot where the aluminum wasn't sanded, maybe to 600, then it would have a hard time getting it to a nice mirrored finish. If this isn't buttery smooth, when that rouge comes around, it's trying to polish, but there's so much damage still to the aluminum surface that it just smears the rouge and just turns it like black. So if you're ever polishing and you're like, oh, it just turns black, it's just all turning black, you gotta go back and you gotta sand, and then sand another time and another time after that. You just go and go and go. You cannot cut corners. The end product is only as good as the preparation put into the job, right? So there's our preparation, and that's not even our end product yet, but that's the shine. Now, as far as the old Anker goes, I got to tell you, the polisher is sucking the juice. I mean, it's using it big time. Granted, I've got almost half the tank polished with it. We went from, was it like 80, 81? I can't remember last time I checked, but went from like 80 down to 55. So using a lot of juice. It's actually, when it's just running, when the polisher's just running just in my hand, it's sucking about 500 watts, which is, pretty decent compared to the sander that's only taking like 125. Anyway, and then when I put it on the aluminum, and we start torquing it and asking it to really work, it's shooting up to 800 watts. So, I mean, it is really pulling hard. It is pulling these things, and this wheel gets to going, and it's putting torque down. I mean, it's sucking the juice. But at 55%, I still think that we'll probably get this finished and have enough to polish. The other thing you got to realize is that rarely do you ever polish a full tank, right? Remember, like I showed you over here? This tank is polished. Like if a guy had brought his semi over, that's how much of the tank you would polish. That surface that you see is probably less than a third on that tank, a third of the face of that tank, right? So if we're doing a full circumference polish on this tank, that's like polishing 1.5 regular semi jobs, okay? So when we're doing 2 full tanks, that's 3 full semi tanks worth of polishing. So when you're thinking how much juice does the Anker have, well, if we can finish this tank, it's gonna have enough juice to polish basically 3 semi trucks tanks if they were mounted on the truck. That makes sense? Looky there. Shiny, shiny. Shiny. Man, oh. Quite a little pair, the tank and the Jenny. Guys, oh man, I gotta go shower. We got football practice coming in hot, but hey, got it done. Had about 4% to spare. So it works. It had enough juice. I can't believe all the sanding and polishing and steps and stages. I don't know. I should have maybe kept a timer going for you so you get an idea of how long, but I mean, I bet we've got probably 3 hours worth of sanding into that tank, and another, probably been close to an hour and a half, I bet, running that buffer. So mobile detailing, mobile polishing, this Anker SOLIX seems to have the juice. That wraps up the day, you guys. Don't mind the washing machine. It's going, probably washing all of my gray and aluminum dirty clothes, right? From that job. Good news is the Anker made it through. Polished the entire deal around, right? The entire tank. Bad news is tomorrow I gotta go hand polish that whole thing and do the second tank. Now I'm hoping I can get old Weed Man Weeds to come on over and give me a hand, because when he was with me, that sanding went very, very fast. And that's a good skill for him to learn. Won't be long and he'll just be polishing trucks for me. Then maybe finally my own trucks will get a polish. Yeah, I was happily surprised. I mean, it worked and did what I was hoping it would do. Again, as I said at the beginning of the video, you guys, I really like to find commercial applications because I don't think you can justify just buying stuff. You know, these electric things are expensive. This thing comes in just under 2,000 bucks. There's the link and whatnot to follow along there if it's something you want to look into. They're not cheap, but if you can find a good commercial use for these things, one, you can use them as a tax write-off for your business, as business equipment that can double for some other uses, of course, as you know. Wait, out here in Montana, stuff has to pull its weight, has to earn its keep, all right? I would have to say that the Anker SOLIX F2000 definitely pulled its weight in the shop today. I know I pulled my weight. Boy, I hope you guys enjoyed, hope you enjoyed that polishing, getting to watch that process go from turd to word is fun. It's very rewarding. Polishing is one of those things that you get out of it exactly what you put into it. Those are my parting words of wisdom. You guys, there is a fall Prime Day coming up. If you check the link, follow along, you can see what kind of discounts are coming up whenever that sale pops up. Save you some money if this is something you want to add to your stable of tools and emergency preparedness, etc., etc. Man, what do we got up next? I got a few things. I actually have a few adventures that I need to finish getting edited from this summer that I think you'll really enjoy. One of those was a big trip to the truck show. Anyway, you guys, till next time, be good.